ROC has promoted a pro-nuclear worldview within Russian society. At a time of economic austerity, it supports the Kremlin's national security course and legitimizes budget allocations to the defense sector. The ROC's position provided nuclear weapon designers with some sort of moral legitimacy for research and development (R&D) programs on the nuclear weapons modernization, as it also indirectly legitimized the Russian strategic community's reluctance to consider further arms control agreements. The ROC has positioned itself as one of the main guardians of the state's nuclear potential and, as such, claims the role of one of the main guarantors of Russian national security. Many of the broader strategic community have come to share this self-assessment of the Church. The ROC capitalized on this reputation and became one of the designers of the new professional identity of the Russian military in general and of the nuclear corps in particular, and has utilized the nuclear community as a tool to enhance its social and political influence. In short, the practices and rituals within the Russian military, especially within the nuclear community, are in line with Ron Hassner's definition of a religious military organization. Research objectives. The case at hand is the most significant and the least likely at the same time. The book provides an account of how a grassroots phenomenon of a formerly outcast religion became supported by a state and wormed its way into the most significant wing of one of the most powerful military organizations in the world, no less. It is not only the story of the crucial role that religion plays today in the Russian military and in a state from which it was banned until the early 1990s, but also the dramatic tale of how it came to play that assertive role within a very short span of time. The story is so much more impressive given how very dire the status of the ROC was in the eyes of the military elite before the events described in the book. Anti-church propaganda had been especially strong within the ranks of the Soviet military, which was one of the main pillars of the most anti-clerical regime in history. How did all of that come to happen? Exploring the impact of religion on strategy in Russia is the main theme of this book. It describes the unprecedented role that the Orthodox faith has played in Russian identity, politics, and national security, and focuses on the bond that has emerged between the Kremlin, the ROC, and the nuclear weapons community. The book dubs this unique 3-decade-long nexus Russian Nuclear Orthodoxy. Outlining the social and cultural causes of this overlooked phenomenon, describing its impact on Moscow's foreign and security policy and on Russian military nuclear affairs, and discussing the consequences of this neglected singularity for international security theory are this book's primary aims. How has this church nuclear nexus evolved? What have been its effects on Russian national security policy? What are the implications for Moscow's future political trajectory? What insights does this phenomenon suggest regarding other members of the nuclear club where religion is interwoven with strategy? What are the broader ramifications for international relations, IR theory, and practice? These are the main questions with which this book grapples. The following 3 cores of literature are most relevant for explaining this intriguing phenomenon. Works on religion and IR, since this book is essentially about the role of faith in international security. Scholarship on state-church relations in Russia, since the phenomenon is a unique part of Russian political history. And works on the role of religion on the battlefield, since the book explores how faith conditions military strategy and operations. This book makes use of this important scholarship, though it suffers from certain lacunae. First, despite the consensus that religion matters, the causal mechanism that links faith to strategy is, for the most part, unclear. The growing literature on religion and IR has examined how faith influences international cooperation and conflict, how religious identities drive peace and war, and how religion shapes warriors' self-perception, war's duration, and the appropriateness of weapons, and it has analyzed the concept of just war. Notwithstanding these important contributions, international security literature is still closer to the first than to the last word on the issue of faith's influence on states' militaries. The scholarship suffers from a case selection bias. With few exceptions, the majority of the literature has focused on Islamic radicalism and non-state actors, but paid little attention to the nexus between nuclear weapons and religion in the militaries of the Christian world. Second, the book corresponds with works on the role of religion in Russian politics. The history of Russian church-military relations remains entirely unwritten, although the literature has scrutinized